Hello everyone and welcome to the August update from Pennyhill Junction. Now apologies, it's been several weeks since my last update. The last update came out at the very beginning of July. We're now approaching the end of August. And unfortunately the last several weeks have been a difficult time for me, both personally and professionally. Many of you who follow me on social media will know that sadly on the 16th of July my mum passed away at the age of 65 following a short-term battle with a lung disease. So it's a very sort of sad and emotional period for myself and my family. And during this, at the same time, I was undergoing some challenges in my previous employment, which I left at the end of June. But I'm pleased to say that I'm back in a new job now, and really excited for what the future holds. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to put a face to a name, and at the same time thank so many of you for your kind words of condolence and your continued support through what has been such a difficult time for me and my family. So a huge thanks once again for all your messages, and you guys have certainly helped to make the process that little bit easier. And this hobby in particular, and the model railway here at Pennyhill Junction, it's really helped me to keep busy, keep focused on other things, and try and get back to some form of normality within my life. So again, 1,000 thanks to everyone who's supported me through this difficult period. So going back now several weeks to my last update at the beginning of July. So where I was with Pennyhill Junction, you'll probably recall that the first loop, which is the main line up route, has been laid. I just started doing some wiring in preparation for conversion to DCC. Now, despite all the personal challenges I've faced over recent weeks, I have managed to get quite a lot done in that time. I've had recently had some time off for a holiday, so a week of that was spent down in Cornwall, and the week prior to that was spent at home. So I made use of that time to get up onto the layout and crack on with some further progression, particularly with laying track. So what we'll do now is we'll get straight into the updates now and look at what I've done in terms of laying track and progressing on from last month. Okay, so let's start by taking a look at the track work. So as you'll see immediately, there is now a second line in place. So the first loop I laid was this top one, which is the main line up, and we now have the main line down in place. So if we follow the track around, I'll give you a little bit of a tour of all the track I have laid currently and what's been added since the last update. So you'll see here, we come to the first turnout. This turnout branches off and takes you into platforms 3 of this line. This one takes you into platforms 1 and 2, where it will eventually connect onto this point here. The main line down itself goes straight into platform number 3. So So trains will be coming in this direction onto the down. As you can see from the point work here, there is opportunity for trains coming in off the main line up, which will generally be the mainline trains. They can switch over to platform 3 and subsequently number 2, and those coming out of platform 3 obviously come straight back onto the main line here. Trains coming off of platform 2 can go onto the main line up if they wish for that same route, while the likelihood is they'll come in this direction onto the down. So we have 3 lines fixed in place now into the platform. So this line here will be platform number 5, platform 4 on this side, platform 3, and as you can see, a little bit of track planning, which I'll come to in more detail a little later in the video. This will be platform 2 here, platform 1, and of course this area will be the main station building. So you'll see immediately that my fleet is increased, which I'll come on to again a little bit later in the video. Hopefully some of you will have seen my recent Meet the Fleet videos, and hopefully they've kept you entertained whilst waiting for the latest update on the layout. Well, what I'll do now is I'll continue down. You can see the 3 lines become 2. You can see there's a switch over here which allows access to both lines, both in and out of the station. This point here, as mentioned in the previous video, will eventually turn into a elevated section between my high speed and express lines. This line here again is the main line down, so trains will be coming straight through onto this 3-way point. Again, opportunities for those coming on the up can transfer onto the down and head into one of the lower platforms at the station. This line here will head into the high speed train care depot. There'll be 2 lines there going into a train shed, and this point will branch out into further sidings which will be for EMUs, etc. So that's as far as I've got with laying the track. Obviously I mentioned earlier in the video that my intention was to convert to DCC. There's been some progress on that again, which I'll come to shortly. But of course what this all has led to is an increase in the work around wiring. So if I just drop us underneath the baseboard, you'll see now that the wiring is all becoming slightly busier. I'll take you over to the other side again, so there's a lot more going on now in terms of wiring under the layout. And as I just mentioned, my intention for some time now has been to convert to DCC, and I was hoping that I would have that conversion completed for the August update, and I'm pleased to say that that has now been done. So I've gone with the Hornby Elite, which I recently purchased from Hatton's, about £205, which is £45 cheaper than if I was to purchase direct from Hornby. This is a fairly basic DCC controller, but as I'm an absolute beginner to DCC and I didn't want to spend an absolute fortune on a controller, particularly when I'm investing so much money into locos and track, etc. at the moment, I just wanted something that I've had received some mainly positive reviews about, and something that I felt comfortable would get me started on this journey into DCC. And so far, I have to say, my first experience of this model is very good. As I say, yeah, it is a basic model, but it provides all the functionality that I require at this time. Now, coming back to the loco fleet and rolling stock, I believe at the last update video in July I only had 2 locos, my class 66 185, which was my very first purchase, Pennyhill Junction, back in January of this year. And subsequently, a couple of months later, I purchased 57603 Tintagel Castle. And I added a couple of items of rolling stock, the EWS wagon, coal wagon, which was purchased in May as a present for my 39th birthday. I also purchased this one myself, a nuclear flask, back when nuclear flask, with every intention of purchasing the model to the left shortly after, which I'll come to in a moment. But to go with the class 57603, you'll recall that I'd bought a number of First Great Western sleeper coaches in an attempt to form the Night Riviera sleeper service. But since then, I've acquired a Mark III TSO in the First Great Western livery. And I've now got in Direct Rail Services Compass livery 37405. I then picked up a little under £80, more of an impulse buy. It's the Windhoff MPV in Network Rail livery. And my most recent purchases, the long awaited class 450 in the South West Trains livery. South West Trains, as many of you know, been taken over by First Group and now running as South West Railways or South Western Railways. And so I'm quite pleased to have this on the layout, so that memory of South West Trains will live on for many more years. And my most recent purchase is a class 43 HST, again in the First Great Western livery. This is 43070. I won't go into it in too much detail because I'll follow this up shortly with another Meet the Fleet video. But you'll see that since the last update, the fleet has increased substantially. And yeah, lots of fun now to be had on the layout, running all these fantastic locos. That'll probably be the last of my purchase for this year in terms of locos. I'll now concentrate on rolling stock. I want to get more Mark III coaches for the HST. However, what I'm finding at the moment is these are only available on eBay, and just the TSO Mark IIIs are going in the region of around £50 per coach. First class and buffet coaches are going in excess of £100. I'm just not prepared to pay that sort of money at the moment. So I'm hoping the price will start to come down over time, and perhaps, you never know, a miracle may happen and Hornby will re-release this particular model. I do have on pre-order the new GWR green HST with the GWR green Mark III coaches. So the coaches themselves are due to arrive in the UK in September, whereas the power and trailer car are not due out until, I believe, early next year. So what I'll do in the interim is I'll mix and match some of the coaches and probably have these First Great Western blue units pulling a mixture of the direct line coaches, dynamic line coaches with the new GWR green. So another recent purchase has been all these goodies here in preparation for installing point motors. So I haven't committed to a date to start that work. My priority is to get a majority of the track down first. I have sufficient number of turnout motors. I've got accessory switches, mounting plates, Pico Electric's wiring looms, and also these gauge master toggle switches. So my point motors will be run off analog, and I'll be creating a control panel and using toggle switches to operate my turnouts. So at some point in the future, hopefully this side of Christmas, I'll spend some time installing point motors. I'll ensure that I record some videos of my struggles and adventures in installing point motors, and yeah, I look forward to that. But I say that's a little bit into the future. For now, it's still very much about laying track. So before I leave you with a short running session, I mentioned at the start of the video that I had a week away in Cornwall, and while I was down in Cornwall, I visited with the family the Bodmin and Wenford Railway. Fantastic day out. And my kids, and my wife in particular, not really into trains, but they thoroughly enjoyed the day out. So anyone taking a trip down to Cornwall, I recommend a trip to Bodmin General, where you can jump on the Bodmin and Wenford Railway. They have a gift shop there, so of course while I was down there I had to take the opportunity to buy a couple of items. So I picked up this Metcalf red brick terrace house, and also a nice little collector's pin from the Bodmin and Wenford Railway. So again, if you're passing Cornwall at any point, or you've got a holiday down in Cornwall, yeah, I do thoroughly recommend popping on to the Bodmin and Wenford Railway. What I will have at the end of this video, after I've done a short running session on the layout, is I'll just put up a few clips of our day out on the Bodmin and Wenford Railway. So that's it for the August update. Apologies again, it's taken so long to give you an update on how things are progressing. I'm pleased that there's lots to tell you about and lots of progress made. Thanks again to everyone who's provided support for me over the last few weeks. It means so much, and to have what have become some great friends within the railway community now. I know some of us are meeting up on the 2nd of September at the old Oak Common open day, so it'll be great to meet some of you guys face to face. But for now though, in terms of what I'm going to be doing over the coming weeks, particularly the next weekend, is I'll continue laying the track and the platform. So by the September update, Pennyhill Junction station, in terms of the track laying, will be complete, and then I need to make a decision then whether I move along to the depot and storage sidings, or whether I come over here into the TMD. So thanks again for watching. Please stay tuned, I say, for more Meet the Fleet videos, and I look forward to returning in the coming weeks with a further update on the layout. I'll leave you with a short running session and also some clips from my trip out to the Bodmin and Wenford Railway. Bye for now.